The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf.
It really gives us a 3D look at a lot of the structure and the conductivity and the things that we tend to look for, but in a very specific manner. And we can turn this thing around and slice and dice it, and it gives us a far better ability to target.
All right, welcome back inside our Proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Chris Frostad. He's the CEO of Purepoint Uranium Group. And Chris, it's great to have you back again. How are you?
I'm very good, Steve. Yourself?
Good, doing well, doing well. Well, interesting news release out today. And it's almost as if you need to do the work before you get to work. And when I say do the work, I mean you've talked in the past about the importance of using modern technology to help with this discovery and potential discovery. So tell me a bit about what's been happening on this news release.
Sure. Well, it's a new approach that we've taken actually to some old data as well. And this is what happens when you're talking about these technologies, is that not only does the survey change in terms of the type of data we can collect, but how they interpret it after the fact. And this is an approach that our geophysical company has been using recently, and we found that it completely changes how we look at and how we see a lot of what is going on underground. Certainly it's the more work that we can do in this state before we start poking holes in the ground, the better, and makes things more precise. In this case, it's called MobileMT, and what it's allowed us to do, it's actually where we're typically putting charge into the ground. We're just using the Earth's energy to read from the bottom up, if you will, and it gives us a very different look at it. So and if you go to the press release, you'll see some of the imagery that comes out of it, but it really gives us a 3D look at a lot of the structure and the conductivity and the things that we tend to look for, but in a very specific manner. And we can turn this thing around and slice and dice it, and it gives us a far better ability to target.
And you've gleaned a lot of data out of this as well. I mean, just when you look at the news release, you've seen how much data is actually coming out of this. And so talk to me a bit about some of the things that you have seen in here that can really help you moving forward.
Well, sure. I mean, in the one case of Celeste, we're seeing exactly how on a 3D matter. Because these things they're swirling, if you will, or they move around. They're not all straight lines. And so we can see very specifically how to target things. In another situation, we've got, because again, when you're driving electricity into the ground, in one case on our Russell South, we had this flatline clay area that was highly conductive, and it wouldn't let us see through it. Well, now we can see it because a lot of this energy is coming from the bottom up. We can actually model this, literally turn it upside down and see what's underneath it. And it gave us a very clear picture of what sort of targets and things we could look at down there. So as we look at Dorado again, which is a huge area that we've done work on in the past, and it's kind of been assembled from a variety of other models and other claims that we've got. We're about to start a survey that covers that entire area, and it'll give us quite an interesting view of what's down there.
I know that you're looking at starting a drill program in June, so a lot of this data will guide you in order to do that. Have you seen things that have sort of changed the way you're setting up the drill program? And that's what you're doing this for, is to be able to hone in on exactly what you want to hone in on.
Sure, and quite frankly, the targets that we're going to be after in June are already pretty well defined, and a lot of that's been defined through the drilling we've done to date. So, but what it is doing, because Dorado is such a huge project, and it encompasses an entire geological structure that stems off of the hurricane deposit. And we've done a lot of work in the past, but now that it's all in one place, it's going to give us a very, very different viewpoint, because obviously all of this structure is encompassed within a system of mineralization that is popping up all over the place. And I think once we're able to take a good, hard, clear look at it in its entirety, we're going to be able to do some pretty interesting exploration moving forward.
Okay, Chris, one last question. That is, a lot of this work was done in the old-fashioned way, boots on the ground, and sort of, the gut feeling, so to speak. Can there be do you like all the data? Is the data something that your geological team is really happy with, to get as much data as possible before they move forward?
Well, absolutely. And
Yeah.
believe me, we don't go out there and drill based on our gut. It is always based on some sort of scientific judgment as to where it is. But we are, it's always based on a lot of geophysics, and you do as much as you can, as much as is going to give you a better idea of what's down there. It's not always specific and precise, but the more you can assemble together, then absolutely the more interesting it is and the more exciting it is to see where a few of these things come together and where you may have just missed something, or you can see exactly why you've hit something. That is definitely something that our crew finds far more interesting before they go out there and start drilling holes.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That's why I ask the questions, you do the work. So there you go. Chris, thanks so much. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, Chris Frostad, the CEO of Purepoint Uranium Group.
The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf. It is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, an offer, or a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Viewers should conduct their own research and consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of Proactive Group Holdings, trading as Proactive Investors or its affiliates. No responsibility is accepted for any loss arising from reliance on the information presented.